YouTube, what the crap's going on? Heir of Carthage here, and I'm gonna have a video today that's got a bit of a theme. I'm gonna have some cinematic footage here in the background to kind of talk through the theme, and then I'm gonna load over into a campaign map. And today's theme is Legendary difficulty sucks. Now, I'm gonna explain this in some detail. You do not have to agree with me. And I already know that I'm going to get that comment down there from someone that says, if you don't like it, just don't play it. Trust me, most of the time, I do not. And legendary difficulty sucks. So yes, let me explain why I think so. And this isn't just me going to say that it sucks and then leave it at that. I'm going to explain how I think it could be better. Whether or not this gets taken in, I don't know. If it doesn't, it's not like I'm going to take offense. CA doesn't have to carry water for me, and there's no reason they should. But I'm going to give my opinion on it as a long-time Total War fan and someone who has played thousands of hours in Total War titles. I'll tell you why I think Legendary sucks. Alright, so this footage actually comes from one of my Legendary campaigns where I am fighting the Druki, and I'm playing a Legendary campaign as Tyrion. I have not recorded it because I wanted to just kind of play through as quick as I can, get as far into it as I could, and this is about 50-ish turns in. And it was me basically, like I said, trying to beat back some Druki that were advancing on one of my settlements. Now, in these battles, you'll see, this is where I want to make a point, both in the battle and on the campaign map. When you put the game on Legendary, the AI does not make smarter decisions. They don't operate smarter. They just cheat harder. And to some degree, you kind of expect that, like just making things arbitrarily harder. But I want to, especially right here, I want to make this real plain. So look at the way the AI is blobbing up their dark shards, and let's just take a look at their army. So one of the big reasons why Legendary sucks is because the AI just gets a bunch of cheat stats, both on the campaign map and in battle, that just make them arbitrarily stronger, but they don't necessarily behave any more intelligently, which would actually make Legendary a lot more of a challenge for an experienced Total War player. Now, because the AI is so dumb that they can't maneuver themselves outside of a paper bag, they're going to not really still present much of a challenge to seasoned Total War players. So I am not particularly good at like microing my army really well or other things like that where a lot of other Total War players are better. But the thing is you don't have to be that good to beat things on Legendary, and I'll demonstrate here why. You might think, why is the AI blobbing up all their dark shards? If we take a look at their army, they've got a shade over here, 2 more dark shards, there's 3 dark shards here, another dark shard, 2 more shades over here. They could totally beat me at range, especially with the dark shards, because a lot of them, I think, have shields. And they do armor-piercing damage. My units do not. So the AI could come up. They could park inside my range. They could massacre my missiles, force me to attack them, and they would have all of the advantage. But they don't. They just come waltzing towards me, and the AI is programmed singularly to snipe high-value targets. So like over here, they started sniping my silver helms rather than using these missiles effectively in one bunch or one line to take down my own missiles. So they're just over here poking shots at a silver helm that is just totally irrelevant to the battle. Here, all these 3 or 4 units are blobbing up so they can shoot at my Mage of Heavens. And then over here, these ones are kind of doing their job, trading some shots. But look at let's take a look at the orders. These ones don't have shoot orders yet from the AI, but you can see some of my units are returning fire to some of theirs. Let's go ahead and hit play. Watch what happens. They blob up all their units. Now, every arrow I shoot is guaranteed to hit multiple dark shards. They can't fire properly because they're all bunched up, and they still think they're in that one patch where CA made it where you could fire through entities. And look, their Lord comes in to snipe my mage, all their dark shards are trying to snipe my mage, and so the AI fails instantly in battle. They're too stupid. They send 3 or 4 units to blob up on my Lord because, again, they can't help themselves. They just have to snipe. And so I'm easily able to single entity trap them here and destroy their units. So the AI basically throws this battle in the first opening seconds of it by making just horrible decisions that leave them open to being destroyed, despite them having the potential to make this very challenging for me. So they overextend their Lord, trying to snipe. Their sniping attempts gets all their missiles killed. They start losing a missile duel that they easily could have won, and then it leaves all their melee troops completely being destroyed. Now, some people might say, Air, it's not that easy to make an AI that can do these things. It may not be, but I guarantee you they can deprogram some of the idiot sniping tactics that are going on and probably program the AI to at least attack me in a coherent line. And attacking me in a coherent line is 9 times out of 10 going to serve them better than just trying to snipe my most expensive or most valuable unit, which is what they're trying to do right now. So, no, I don't think that they're going to make an AI that behaves, totally like a human that can deal with every situation. But like I said, even just programming it to attack me in a coherent line would have made it perform better in this battle. Like march up to me in a fairly coherent line if I'm in a line. Have your missile units target my missile units and fight, right? You know what I mean? Like, and they probably would have fared a lot better. Like I said, they're going to lose the battle here. But it's this kind of stuff that makes Legendary not fun. So if you watch this battle here, the AI is losing terribly. Look at the balance of power. Look at the leadership on all their units. Not a single one of their units up front is even beginning to waver, even though you can see the balance bar tilted heavily in my favor, and it's because they just get a bunch of ridiculous buffs, and not until the army losses totally kicks in does their army take the rout. But army losses, of course, would have never kicked in had they not made such boneheaded mistakes. Let's go talk a little bit about how talk a little bit. Let's go talk some more about why Legendary sucks and how we can make it better. All right, this is the campaign map for the campaign that produced the battle that you just saw. That battle actually took place somewhere over here on Nagarond. So let me just kind of, like I said, help make the point here. Basically, Legendary just gives the AI, it gives them public order bonuses, it gives them free money, it gives them leadership bonuses when they're in battle. I think it gives them melee defense bonuses. It may give them attack and missile damage bonuses. I'm not 100% sure, but I know it gives them leadership and melee defense bonuses because I've seen how stupid they are, how long it takes. I don't have a place to go mine out, and of course they don't tell you when you're mousing over the Legendary difficulty what it actually does. They just say, oh, this one's for the most grizzled, seasoned veterans. But that's the thing, is how can this be for seasoned veterans when the AI hasn't graduated clown college on the Legendary setting? Now, this is going to sound like I'm being really mean to CA. I'm not being mean to CA. I'm just saying this kind of stuff to prove my point, right? And if you don't agree with me, again, it's fine. If you say if you don't like it, don't play it, fine. I don't most of the time, so it's not hurting my feelings. In any case, look at some of these situations, by the way. So the Norskin tribe here came in and took my minor settlement and then ran off and left it undefended. How does that help them? They have, like, I've seen their armies. They come sailing from somewhere up here up north. I don't remember exactly where it's at, but Norska comes sailing in every now and then, and they capture a settlement. They've got 3 full-stack armies. They never send them and seek decisive combat with my army. What they'll do is every now and then they'll send one army down at a time, totally clown college style, like I said. They'll take one minor settlement, and if they see my army coming, they cut and run. They don't defend it. They don't stay to fight it. They don't consolidate their forces and threaten me. Same thing, Count Noctilus comes up here, and he's also in the school of dunce here. Sends forces up, attacks minor settlements, fails most of the time, raids in the lands. He has multiple armies. I've seen it before. He's come up, I've seen 3 or 4 of his armies. Same thing over here with Marathi. She's got multiple armies that she sends piecemeal on separate turns, and they just end up getting killed. Stupid stuff. She sent her armies one at a time over to this province, and I've killed her at least 5 times in combat. This is probably her 6th, 7th, 8th army that I've killed. But she just keeps coming back because of the cheats, and I could sit here and farm her. Look at the experience levels on my troops. I just keep farming her with Tyrion's army, and I've got almost all 9 Chevron units here. And it's just easy for me to continue to farm and kill her because they're so dumb. I haven't even had to upgrade to elite units with Tyrion in order to beat my enemies there. And I've been able to slowly and methodically capture all of these territories. Yeah, sure, I get annoyed by the AI every now and then. Every now and then it pulls my attention away for a few turns as it attacks a settlement. Nakari is another good case in point here. Slaanesh is darn near invincible whenever I fight them on Legendary because suddenly Slaanesh has melee defense. And they're unbreakable to begin with, most of them, because they're demon units. And so, I mean, it is very difficult to stop Slaanesh because they do tremendous damage. They have tremendous speed, and everything's armor-piercing, and so they cut right through you. But even though Nakari has had multiple armies several times, he never consolidates them. He'll only push one army at a time towards pointless settlements, and then I can either trap him using an ambush stance, or he just runs away. And so there's never any real threat to me most of the time in this campaign. Now, I get it. Tyrion is one of the easier campaigns, and so maybe this doesn't perfectly represent all the others, but here's what I'm saying. Instead of having this be completely like junior varsity strategy here, instead of giving the AI huge public order buffs and all the extra money and all the extra recruiting and no upkeep and all that other stuff, how about this? How about we change the way the AI behaves? What if it's programmed to build up its armies and to seek out the player, and not just seek your minor settlements, but to bring multiple armies working together and seek your major settlements, to seek out your army and engage it in combat? What if it did that? What if you had multiple factions who were determined to bring large forces against you and seek you out and fight you? Now that would be interesting. There's been no real point during this campaign in which I was actually threatened with destruction, and it's because the AI is incapable of understanding how to gain a victory. Now, programming it to really understand things strategically like a human would be difficult, but again, it can be programmed to do what I just said. Seek out my major settlements by using all of your armies in concert. Seek out my armies by using all of your armies together. Outnumber me, attack me, and win. And then you wouldn't need to put all these ridiculous, ludicrous buffs on everything, because the player would get a challenge. And so I guess before I get into this section, let me preface this. With all the ridiculous buffs that you get... Sorry, let me back up one more step. I didn't have this scripted, so sorry, I'm not perfect with this. Why do you play Total War, right? What brings a player to Total War? Well, the battles, they're unique. They're better than... Pretty much, in my opinion, they're better than anything out there from any other strategy game. The battles are what make this game. Now, the campaign map is cool. It's kind of a glue that ties together all the battles and what can become your own self-made narrative, and I like it. So I'm not saying I dislike the campaign map, but the battles are why you play Total War. Whenever you play on Legendary and the leadership is through the roof and the melee defense is through the roof, it breaks the battles. The units do not function the way that they're designed. They don't work the way they're supposed to, and you just have to come up with idiot cheese strategies in order to win, like I just did in that last battle, SEM baiting and all this other stuff in order to win. And yes, while it's technically harder than the other ones, because the AI just gets all these arbitrary buffs, it doesn't take much more thinking to do, right? You just slightly alter your tactics against the same really bad AI. And it works, because, like I said, the AI is just absolutely awful. So, my suggestion, with that in mind, right, if the fun of the game is the battles, and that should be the focus of the game, in my opinion, how do you make Legendary hard, but maintain the fun that Total War battles bring to the game and to the franchise? Well, get rid of the arbitrary buffs in battle. If you want to have a few arbitrary buffs in the campaign map, that's probably fine, because again, I understand programming a really intellectual AI that cannot waste all of its resources on the campaign map and stuff is probably difficult, right? It's probably not easy. I shall go. And so I get it. I don't expect that kind of thing to be perfect from Creative Assembly in a really easy fashion like that. So, got it. Maybe leave the arbitrary buffs in the campaign map. Get rid of them in the battle. Do the things like I said in the battle to change the way the AI behaves. Just make it aggressive. Run at the player, attack them in a coherent line. If you do have extra units on the flank, go ahead and work the flank and try and get to the missile units. Do not YOLO your lord as the first unit in, and basically use your missile units to go after theirs, instead of just trying to shoot the most expensive infantry unit. You could program a few minor things into the AI to try and teach them how to not get baited by a single entity, right? Get them to not try and attack a single entity with like a whole blob of units. And all of a sudden, this game's a lot harder because the AI is still getting some cheats on the campaign map. They're producing way more armies than you. They're being aggressive with you. They're coming at you with multiple stacks, and those stacks are behaving slightly more intelligently in battle. However, the player doesn't get handicapped with the ridiculous leadership and melee defense stuff, so the units in their army still function, and the player has an opportunity to try and build a better, smarter army that they can defeat the enemy with in a way that's not just them SEM spell cheesing. And so I think all of these together would make Legendary a more fun experience, and of course they could apply this to the lower difficulties as well. And so as you step up difficulty in Total War, effectively what happens is that the AI simply becomes much more aggressive and much more coherent in bringing multiple forces against the player in battle and the way it seeks things. So I think this would make Legendary a whole lot more fun. As it stands, like I've played, as you can see, 75 turns of this Legendary campaign, and it's not very fun, and it's not particularly exciting. And it's because I'm having to play the game in a way that's not fun in order to beat it. And again, I know, don't like it, don't play it. I get it. I don't most of the time, and I think the reason why most people don't touch Legendary is for this same reason. Not all the people who don't touch Legendary are newer players who are afraid to play it. A lot of them are like me, who don't play it because it's not fun, and in my opinion, it's a wasted offering for Total War. Again, all this is just my thoughts. You tell me what you think. I'd love to hear from you down in the comments. If you have better ideas on how to fix it than me, I would love to hear your feedback. I'd like to give Creative Assembly some feedback on this. I don't know that they would listen or care to listen. You know, it may be the product and behaving as intended, and they don't really want to do it another way, but I've seen them be open to a lot of feedback over the years, and I think it'd be fun for us to collect some of this feedback and come up with a better way to come up with some other ideas. But first, I need to know whether you all agree, disagree, partially agree, whatever you think. Or if you just think I'm stupid, feel free to go in the chat and say, Air, you're stupid. So I'm actually looking forward to reading a bunch of comments that say I'm stupid. In any case, I will see you all soon. Hopefully you enjoyed this. Hopefully it made sense. Again, I don't have time to script things and write these out with a bunch of bullet points. I apologize. I'm doing my best to shoot these from the hip because, you know, I'm just busy and I don't have time to write it all out like I'd like to. HeirofCarthage signing out for now. I'll see you all again soon with some more action in Total War Warhammer 3.